Hello. Welcome to Empires of Aether, the next great turn-based strategy board. We've arrived to the release of the final element, Sun. We knew it was coming. The moment that the last element was announced, released, Moon, you knew Sun was coming. And this will actually complete my current image of the game. We have 4 sets of 4. Everything working in a beautiful circular format where there's one element countering another element. And this is going to add another layer of complexity to the game, which, of course, that's what we love most about it. And Sun, being a bright, shiny star of our universe, all revolves around your star tile. They have a very new mechanic in which they are actually wielding 2 generals. And they do have specific names here. And of course, this is going to synergize with the lore to come out with them. Hopefully, whenever we get to it, right? But the most unique mechanic about them is that they go to tier 2 after purchasing a star tile. The one drawback to that is, of course, this is a cheaper alternative to going to tier 2, but it does fit into this unique leveling up mechanic that Blood has with its tier 2 sort of semi-quest to get to tier 3 by sacrificing 30 soldiers, and Moon does by getting to tier 2 by having 4 armies simultaneously. It is a cheaper alternative. Where most other elements are going there by spending 10 food, 10 BM, Sun is doing it by really just spending 5 food, 5 BM, or 6 food, 6 BM in the event that it is a rainforest. What we have as a drawback here is they can't do it until turn 4. So it is delaying them by 1 turn, which I do think is quite impactful, but we'll have to see how that plays out. The other unique side of their kit is that their entire story is that they are defending their culture, defending their religion, really. And the story behind them is that they are going to be hunting Blood and Moon. They are the monster hunters, here to cleanse the darkness from the world. And so with that, there have been relics dropped along the way, tokens of history, relics of light. And their generals are able to pick them up. And by wielding these relics, they're getting different abilities. However, these abilities are specific to the general that they pick, the general that wields it, which is going to be very, very unique and require some strategy with it. And so your generals are able to tote these relics back and forth, and this is one of your main methods of winning, main methods of acquiring a win condition, what's unique to Sun itself. But their economic advantage is star tiles produce an additional 3 food and BM. This is going to make control of the middle of the board really, really interesting for them. Yes, they're almost guaranteed to have their star tile, but are other nations going to put pressure on them to take it from them? Are other nations going to put pressure on it before they can even buy it on turn 4? We're really hoping that Star Tile Fire or Central Fire is going to, or Starfire, as I'm trying to coin it, Teen Titans, let's go, can really put pressure on them before they even purchase it. Because if they can't get to tier 2, they are really stunted in their tracks, which is very, very interesting here. So let's take a look at some of their tier 1 abilities. We've got some pretty, as you can expect, names: Rise, Set, Dawn, with 2 different generals. And the main mechanism of them winning being the general being able to move around the board. If they were only able to move 1 tile at a time, that is going to be incredibly slow and make them an incredibly weak nation. Rise, however, is a 2-use ability. You can use it twice, and you get to move one of your generals twice. Doesn't matter if it's the same general twice, or you use it 1 on each. I see uses for both whenever you see this full kit come together. Set is going to be a helper mechanic on getting that relic back to your capital tile, or as a very, very good counter to the Blood Nation, as one of Sun's primary mechanisms is going to be to counter Blood and Moon, and you're going to see how strong and capable they are at doing that here momentarily. So this does have use on yourself and use on your enemy. And Dawn is a straight-up reset. I like this because there's going to be an aggressive version of Sun, there's going to be a relic version of Sun, and Dawn can be used in either direction. So you might be able to actually straddle those 2 strategies when you're going into a game, and then Dawn is going to be when you decide which direction to go. Do I need my generals to have more movement, or do I need to counter my enemy with Set? Or do I need to do something along the lines with these combat-focused abilities down here with Flare, which is getting rid of their combat advantage cards, or Beam, which is transferring 1 relic from 1 general to another, and we'll see lots of different uses for that here in a second, but also just a straight up, effectively a combat advantage card in an ability making our enemies weaker when we go and take the aggression to them. Their signature tier 2 that I do see them taking most of the time in order to secure these relics and make them more accessible for them is the Reliquary. Monuments are going to get a pretty big change here in this follow-up video, this follow-up patch, now that the game will officially be completed, and now we're really just making sure everything is balanced. But the Reliquary is going to lock your star tile down. Upon purchasing it, you immediately level up to tier 2, and then it's going to immediately be converted into this Reliquary. And so, yes, it's going to be generating that 3 food and 3 BM. The Reliquary on its own doesn't produce anything, but it's still going to be a very, very valuable tile to you because it is a shorter distance for you to store your relics, which is very important. You get to permanently keep them once you get them there. So it's not a paid-for monument. It is going to transition itself for free. And then it can't be attacked until an enemy is tier 3, which is another really important text here. Sunspot is to try to see if Sun can maybe be that center of the board dominator. Maybe they can go for multiple star tiles earlier on. I think it'd be really cool if they were able to somehow sneak like a turn 5 or turn 6 win just before the temple goes Aether. They somehow get 3 star tiles. It would be really, really cool to see. And then the passive here at the end, so you're getting this active ability that prevents opponents from attacking it or attacking any of your star tiles, but the passive is going to allow you to move around the center of the board between your star tiles, which is really interesting as well. But without the most powerful economic advantages here, we're going to see if they can actually keep up militaristically with these other nations. Can they, stockpile enough armies in order to fight in that manner in the middle of the board? But really, their best economic advantage is the super cheap going up to tier 2, which is going to be, we'll see how it plays out. Speed of Light is going to instantly deposit one of your relics, so you'll see that this is, of course, going to almost lock up a win condition for you, which is going to be really, really cool for you. So once we get back into the competitive scene for Aether, and win conditions are everything in terms of your placement on the leaderboard, this is going to be a nation that I think you can really consistently get one win condition on, and then, of course, vie for that second in order to secure your wins. The Order is going to be their very militaristic tier 2 card, in which an army is going to each general. However, they must stay with at least one of the generals. So if both of your generals are in the same spots, well, you can spawn both the armies on the same tile, and if you decide to take your generals in separate directions, you could leave both of the armies with one of the generals, which is another really, really cool application of it. Or if you decide to try to, go 2 different directions, go for the middle of the board, you've got military power in both directions. And then we see one of the most powerful just counter abilities that we've seen in this game. Yes, we've got Pyroclastic Vents with Magma versus Fire, but Silver Bolts and Wooden Stakes might take the cake here. Your generals are armed with monster hunting equipment. For each general involved in a battle against Blood or Moon, you get this ability, which means if both of your generals are there, it is going to double these effects. That means Blood would have minus 10 soldier sacrifice on their Blood Doping passive. That's minus 20 to their general's power, or minus 2 on Moon Soldier's dice roll. Very spicy, and I definitely see the potential of, if you're a 16-16 or 20-20 Sun, and you get a short side Blood or Moon opponent, just running at them. Send maybe one of your generals going for that first star tile, and then just going at them, and then your aggression is just going to beat them down. And so this is going to open up the ban phase. If you really want to play Moon, you stupid scumbags, and abuse that stupid nation, well, you're going to have to ban Sun, which is going to leave other elements open as well. Or are you going to ban the likes of Lightning and Glacier and Poison and leave Sun open and really just find yourself vulnerable to this? Dragon Slayer, very cool interaction with specific landmark tile on the board, Dragon's Lair. When Helios enters it, that Dragon's Lair is gone. But you get a relic from it, you get a free mountain out of it, and you eliminate the threat of a dragon later on from snaking one of your wins, which is really interesting. But how this is all come together, these Relics of Light, of course, you probably saw it coming. Their primary quest is going to be to return 3 of these Relics of Light to your Reliquary or your capital to earn 1 win condition. So you don't have to take this Reliquary ability. If you want to take the time to actually deposit them back at your capital tile, more than welcome to. There's even merits of you leaving one of your generals behind close to your capital so that you can do something along the lines of Beam and Speed of Light to just deposit a couple of them really quickly. You could do Beam and Dawn in order to beam a second time, and then one general is going out getting all these relics for you, and then sending them all back to the guy that's at the capital, and then you've got a win condition if you're able to get to tier 3, and I definitely see them able to do this. Supernova and Ultraviolet is where our specific generals are going to get different abilities, which this is a very unique aspect to the game. Helios is going to immediately slay a boss with 75 health or less, and get a Relic of Light that is immediately transferred to your Reliquary or your Capital Tile. This does say Reliquary when you change the text to Capital Tile as well, but this is one of your 3 relics right there. If the opponents have done a great job of denying you a couple of star tiles, and this is including just making it to the Elemental Temple, this is a great way to get that 3rd relic for you. Ultraviolet, Iris is able to go onto an enemy tile and then back off of it because she's able to move 2 tiles per turn, and she can enter enemy tiles or boss tiles, so you can just sneak into enemy territory, grab the relic on a star tile, and then get out. Or she can sneak onto a boss tile and get out. Of course, this isn't the most powerful tier 3 ability, but it's just another way to lock up this Relic of Light quest very, very soundly. Or if you wait to go tier 3, right? You've got the final blow ready to put on Blood or Moon, but you wait to go tier 3, you are rewarded by winning the game instantaneously if you're to do so. This is very similar to Lightning's quest, of course, Olympus's Throne, but very, very matchup specific, which I think is really, really cool. I like this kind of thing where we're really putting direct counters into the game, so hopefully you guys think so as well. So what are these Relics of Light? Because right now, these generals are feeling pretty weak on their own. Everything in this supernatural expansion to the game with Moon, Blood, and Arcane, the generals have had a lot more power, right? They're more central to your strategy, and this will be no different. Your generals are grabbing these Relics of Light, and if you can spot the theme to them, please do let me know in the comments down below. I personally am a big fan of them. We've got 3 relics for Helios, 3 relics for Iris. The general whose name is attached to it must be wielding it in order to get the ability. So you're almost guaranteed to get one of these on turn 1 or 2 if you're using your Rise ability, right? Just grabbing that star tile that's right next to your base, and you don't have to buy it. All you have to do is get your general to it. And then going to the Elemental Temple with a soldier or one of your generals, you're going to get another relic, and then make your way to another star tile or the boss tiles close to your base, you're going to get another relic there. So you're going to get a few of these over the course of the game just naturally, and your generals are going to have more power. Iris is going to be the more economic, tactical general, so getting abilities we can purchase tiles for half price, including star tiles or landmarks, which is really interesting. The Sankara Stone or the Shankara Stone is going to place resource buildings to buff up those economic advantages so we can go to tier 3 more quickly. The Quartz Cranium, we're drawing 2 advantage cards per turn, and with equipment entering the game, advantage cards are pivotal, right? If you can sell just a couple of pieces of equipment, you can go to tier 3 at the drop of a hat. Dawnbreaker is going to allow our boss killing potential to be pretty heavy, and then the Beacon is spawning soldiers for us at a discounted rate, and the Ark is eliminating threats. And just as the lore of the Ark of the Covenant is, it brought down the walls of Jericho, it's going to be removing these defensive fortifications when we're attacking. So we're going with the story, we're going with the history. Sun is going to be a pretty cool, tasty nation. I hope you guys agree. I think it's going to find a place in the meta, especially when you see the patch notes we have cooking up. Let's get back to the table, boys and girls. I'll see you at the next one.